reason why Brad Stevens pulled the trigger on this trade. I mean, Al Horford, for his influence and for who he was, I mean, from Jayson Tatum, from
the
very first media day after he left, he called him one of his favorite teammates. I mean, you don't think he had any input on this?
But Josue, if you're concerned, Josue, with Smart being kind of in Brad's little circle and the guy that Brad trusts, and now Brad's brought another one of those guys in there, is that going to help locker room chemistry?
But no, this is different though. This is another one of those guys, John. This is Pops. This is Dad from back in the day. Dad who left 2 years ago. Like, that was his role with this team. He was
Dad
the dad
who left you. Now Dad wants to come back and hang out with his kids again.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
He got his pack of smokes and he came back. You know, it never happens that way.
Dad got a lucrative offer. Dad had a lucrative offer.
For a minute. He's back. He didn't go far. Just went around the block real quick.
Dad threw the football and bolted the other direction.
He said, "Kids, I'm just gonna go down the street," and then he never came. But now he's back.
Pack of smokes,
now he's back.
No, Josue, it's not even so much about the room, because a lot of times the room and what's going on the court reflect each other. If stuff's going fine on the court, there's never going to be issues in the room. And if there are, they don't really matter. You need to establish a team that's going to work the right way and make everybody happy and get everybody the touches they need in the spots that they need. Ultimately, Thompson ramming himself in the middle, never passing to the perimeter, and not connecting much of anything, didn't do all that much to facilitate that kind of product on the court. Al standing in the high post, making all the right reads, getting guys great looks, cutting baseline, doing all those things he used to do as a facilitator, I think is just, going to engage people and just make this a much more pretty offense and an active defense.
Right.
Like, this was really, out of all the guys we talked about, he had the most potential to impact this team in a way that Kemba didn't.
What about Al's knees? Didn't Al have some knee issues his last year in Boston?
We're not talking about that right now, Jimmy, all right?
Just want to make sure that we don't have to run into the same issue that we just got rid of.
Can I say the thing that's going to get everyone to yell at me?
Absolutely.
Okay. So I'm not saying this. I'm not starting it. I'm just simply we keep going around the world. Okay, well, what if Marcus is a problem? What if Kemba was a problem? What if Tristan was a problem? Okay, what if Kyrie was a problem? It was Gordon. What's the constant variable here in all of these things? Okay, and this is what worries me a little bit is
we've been saying this.
It's what if Jaylen and Jayson, again, everyone's like, tread lightly, John. I'm not saying Jaylen and Jayson are problems, but I'm starting to wonder what is going to make them happy at this point. Like, if everything is about build around those guys, find pieces around those guys, but none of it is working right now. At what point do you start to wonder, can we get anything that's going to work here? Well, is there a formula that works? Is there the right combo of players that works? How does it work here?
I think Al is a start.
Right.
Because this was really the first year where just the idea of building around them was even something that was feasible. And that really wasn't feasible until we got in the middle of the season where Jaylen Brown made that leap from being a pretty good player to an all-star. So we haven't even had a full season of them trying to build around those guys.
Yeah.
And I think adding Al, is a nice kind of brick in building that foundation. But they have to do a better job of getting guys who complement those guys. They need guys who can run the floor. They need guys who are more athletic.
What if people are struggling with them, like playing with them, with their styles, with their personalities? What if the issue people are having is with those guys, not complementary pieces basketball-wise? What if you've got an issue where you're having people that are having a tough time jiving with them, or one of them, for whatever reason? And I don't know that that's the case, but that's going to be a concern if we go through another rotation of another round of players and all of those don't work too. And it's like, I
honestly think this
we knew this last group was bad.
This is like his binky, if you will. It's like, okay, this is what I know. This is how we were successful. Not just Al Horford himself and obviously his skill set, but just the philosophy. Let's see if we can get a little bit more of that. Let's get a voice back in here that used to galvanize these guys. And if that doesn't work, then we have a serious problem.
Then you have
At least you can start. It's like what you said. What was it last week? You get the autopsy, if you will, right? Like, this is part of the autopsy, and I think this is Brad's obviously his first move, and he feels really safe about it because he knows what he's getting in Al Horford, and to give up a first round pick and to also get Moses Brown and all that stuff. Look, I just think from a culture standpoint, it's just like, okay, let's test this out, and then we'll see if we have further problems.
I guess.
So here,
one thing I did find interesting. Go ahead, Jimmy. Go ahead.
I was going to say, let's stop acting like Al hasn't already been there, done that with this team, with these two guys.
No, not quite like this. Though.
Hold on. He's been on the team. He watched them collapse. He watched the whole thing collapse with Kyrie on the team, and I didn't hear a boo.
And he's like, I'm out of here.
And he was the first guy out the door, first. Second of all, where'd he go? He went to Philadelphia, to another team with two young stars that couldn't seem to quite get it together. And what happened in Philadelphia? He was moved on out of there. He obviously didn't have much of an effect. They were a first-round exit with him on the team. So let's stop saying that, Al Horford, and listen, I like Al Horford. I'm sure he's, still got enough in him to contribute. But let's stop acting like Al Horford's the savior of this team. What John's saying is something that we've hinted at, and what we've actually mentioned on multiple episodes of the show, is that star after star, player after player come and go on this team, and Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum are still here. Why are so many great players so willing to leave this team? Kemba Walker, if you believe the reports, wanted to leave too. I mean, at some point, is there a star player that wants to make it work with these two young guys, believes in these two young guys, or do these two young guys have to therefore believe in their teammates around them? But there is definitely a disconnect, and I go back to that word because watching this team this year, whoever's fault it is, whoever was preferential treatment and who wasn't, there was a huge disconnect. And when you want to give Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown all the credit when things go well, you have to give them the criticism when things don't go well. At some point, the more bigger role they have, the more criticism they're going to have to take, and the finger point is going to be pointed towards them in good and in bad.
But Jimmy, let's be real though about most of the guys that have left and why they left. Most of them left because they had either a better opportunity to play or they got more money. I mean, Al Horford, he made it pretty damn clear that if I opt out, you give me a new deal, this is what I want. And if you do that, I'm here. And if you don't, I'm bouncing. And they were like, go ahead, see what you can get. And he got the money.
Yes and no.
He got paid,
yes and no.
absolutely.
No, hold on. That's a timeout. I got to call a timeout there. For Al, yes. But Al left partly because Kyrie left. And Kyrie left because at the beginning of the year, he's like, this is where I want to be. And then by the end of the year, he's like, this is not where I want to be. And he threw a ton of not so thinly veiled criticism at the younger players. Okay, so Kyrie's issue very clearly publicly was with those guys. Gordon Hayward, while he didn't call those guys
they're best buds now.
While Gordon Hayward didn't call those guys a problem, he left for more opportunity. He didn't want to be in the shadow of those guys. So you have two people who have directly alluded to issues that they've had, whether it was the kids don't get it and they're not willing to work yet. And that you got a lot of that from those guys. Even Marcus Morris was saying it. He got into it with Jaylen Brown. You got a couple of veterans who had that vibe in that year.
Marcus Smart seems to be having that same.
And Marcus Smart's gotten into it too. So you've got a lot of people who are like, I don't think these kids get it. And so
maybe it's obvious to them that
we keep rallying to the side of the kids. We keep rallying to them. But as Joe Sway said earlier, right now you've done okay. You're going to get a coach that we think you can jive with better than Brad because that wasn't working, and there's nobody freaking left. It's you guys, and it's your show.
So if
it doesn't work, and if there's more problems here, we are going to get to the point where
a serious problem now.
You might have a problem.
Yeah,
there's going to be anybody else left to blame.
That's because look what we did all year. All year we were like,
we goes to the front office and goes, "I'm done, guys. That's it." They don't want to listen.
Look at the excuse all year.
They need Al to a scouting role.
Yeah. Hi guys, Cedric Maxwell here. I want to take a minute to tell you about Marigold Medical. I'm used to keeping my body in great shape, but with arthritis, even the most simple everyday tasks became unbearable. As soon as I called Marigold Medical, I knew I was in good hands. No drugs, no surgery, just an experienced team of caring professionals that wanted to get me back to doing the things I love. Make the call to Marigold Medical and get back to pain-free life.